Up here.
Your next unit of poetry?
Yes, it is. I know, I'm so excited. So our next unit is poetry, and wow, I must really love you guys or something, because your assignments for this next time, or for next time we meet, are pretty short. It's a little intro video which you guys are summarizing in some notes, and then like a intro to the goals and the essential questions of that unit. Don't start that until you wrap up your essay though. Today we are going into some peer revision and then also some editing. And I'm going to have you guys take some notes. All right. So we're going to talk about systematic editing and revision, two different terms. What I mean by this is when you identify an error today, based on the things I present, don't just fix it once, fix it in every paragraph. So if you identify an error in claim, for example, you double check both of your claims. If you identify one MLA error, look for the whole, that error in all of your essay, okay? I know some of you are a little behind and you haven't completed it yet. Get it in by next time we meet. Absolutely. That's going to be a hard due date. Get it in by next time we meet. Otherwise, you are going to get buried. Because poetry is going to be, we're going to kick it up a notch for that unit, which should be fun. Any questions before I jump into this? Yes.
Do you want us to unsubmit our essays so we can edit it?
Yes. Please go ahead and unsubmit your essay. I already have access to it regardless, so don't worry about that. Unsubmit your essay if you submitted it, and then I want you to keep your essay up right now so that as I'm going through these pointers, you can already be looking at your own essay and seeing what you need to maybe change or fix. Okay? Anything else I can respond to? Yeah, so just make sure your essay is pulled up and your notes, whatever you're taking notes on today, so that you can even start now like fixing these things and noticing them in your own writing. Okay. Can someone define for me, we haven't gone over it in this class, but perhaps you just know, what's the difference between editing something and revising? What do you think?
Like revising is kind of more of a permanent thing, while editing is kind of like a quick, just kind of erase something and then put in something new.
I love it. You said, what was your word for revising again? Quick versus?
I think it was more of a quick fix than like a permanent.
I like it. Like a haircut that's a trend versus like bangs in a color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like editing is more fixing mistakes, and revision is more, don't know how to phrase it. Know what I'm saying? Don't know how to phrase it. More, I guess, changing the actual body of the paragraph, like changing, like if it's a sentence and you did it all wrong, then taking that out and changing it. But editing is more fixing like grammar mistakes or the format.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Is that something you learned last year?
I don't know.
Or you just knew it? I love it. Yeah, so let's add what Reese's comment was. I love this. Big picture changes. You've got your big picture changes, and she also mentioned organization. So if you make a change to the organization of your essay, let's say you switch two body paragraphs or two sentences, that's revision, versus editing is just your quick fixes, your MLA, your grammar errors, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I feel like with revision, like if you're revising one of our paragraphs, you're like commenting on it and telling us what we could change so that we can edit it
To make it better.
Yeah, I like it. I like it, yeah. Yeah, commenting to change so we can make it better versus where editing is just kind of like making it shiny. Fixing all the icky little minute stuff in there. Okay, good. I think we have a good list. To get a good revision, which is what we're going to work on next, you have to get good at both. It's great to get good at both editing and revision. Most students, when they go to revise their essay, they get stuck here. They get stuck with the editing, and they never get to those big picture changes. So we're gonna work today, and that's our objective, is to revise effectively. We're gonna work today on both of these, but we're gonna start with another student's writing first, and then look at your own, because it's a lot easier to identify in someone else's writing than it is your own. Self-reflection is really hard. Like you often just want to submit something and call it good and call it perfect and move on. That's what I'm like. Yeah.
I always have my mom edit it because she owns her own magazine and she does the editing. And so I just have my mom edit it because she knows how to do it.
I love that. That's awesome. What magazine?
It's called Enjoy Magazine.
Enjoy?
And our business partner on it, and they also own the store.
That's amazing. I know what story you're talking about, and I actually, one of her employees is a friend of mine. That I know from
What's her
college.
name?
Her name? I'm blanking on her name right now.
How is she your friend?
Well, I knew her a couple years ago.
Oh.
You know, like one of those people that like
You know what's funny?
what?
You have a friend at my mom's store. It's my English teacher last year. Her daughter had a friend at my mom's store.
That's so cool. Random. I love it. There you go, guys. There are jobs in editing and revision available. Boom. Practical applications. Okay. Thank you for that, Reese. So editing versus revision, we have to get good at both. We're going to look at another peer's paper first before you look at your own. But I want to give you guys 3 things today that we're going to look at. The first one, make sure you jot this down, take some good notes. You can need them later. Is on thesis statements and claims. Tell me if this looks familiar. Thesis. Chicken foot idea. Does this look familiar to anyone? No? A little bit?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sort of.
Jack's nodding his head. Okay. So the idea is your thesis is your big statement, and then you've got your 3 claims in one sentence. Kind of like a roadmap. You get a roadmap to what you're going to argue in these first sentences or in your body paragraphs. Okay? How many would we have for this essay? Just 2. Right? Here's the 2 body paragraphs. Okay.
Deformed chicken.
What was it?
Yeah. Deformed chicken.
Yeah, little deformed
It's
chicken.
like a roadrunner.
So you're gonna have your you're gonna have your claim 1 here, and your claim 2 here. Another way to think about it is that your thesis. I'm gonna give you 2 different metaphors. Your thesis is like a waterfall. Okay, it has a waterfall effect, a trickle down effect to the rest of your paper. Where you start with your thesis is your major argument, and then it trickles down into your claims, and then it trickles down into your second claim in each paragraph. The last metaphor I'm going to give you guys is your thesis is like your grandparent. Your claims are like your parents. And then each individual smaller claim, right, because the 2-4 has 2 claims. Each individual smaller one is like the baby claim. Okay? So you kind of have like a trickle-down effect going on in there. Let me give you an example. He agrees. Yes, he agrees. Who wrote about Curly's wife?
What?
I was going to. Pretty sure everybody wrote about Lenny. Did it right?
Raise your hand if you wrote about Lenny. What about you, Jacob?
I haven't done it yet because my car fell before I could actually write it.
I'm sorry. Was it cold at your house?
Slightly. Not
Slightly?
really, no.
All right. I'm sorry. Yeah, and the wind was strong enough to take your face off this morning. Anyone notice that?
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
I almost
all
tipped
over.
over.
That's
You,
true.
well, you're wearing.
Yeah.
But this was during PE.
Flat like a kite.
This was during PE, so I was not wearing my hat.
Get it.
Can we handwrite our essay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I like handwriting.
Yes. You have
So
great
do I,
handwriting.
but I don't think we could. So I just-
No, you can.
I
Yeah,
figured it
I mean,
out.
but if you handwrite, type it up for the final draft.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can definitely handwrite first. Okay, we're off track. Let's go. So here is the sentence I'm going to give you, and I'm abbreviating. Please copy this down. Curly's wife is the underlying. This is a sample thesis that I came up with. Source of conflict. Because of her unresolved insecurity issues and her loveless marriage.
That's pretty dark.
Yes. To write a good essay, you guys probably were realizing this, you almost have to be a psychologist. You almost have to really get behind, what's going on in these characters' lives. So I have my 2 claims. Anyone want to take a guess at what my 2 claims are going to be? Reese.
One of them is that she's the main source of the problem.
That's going to be part of my thesis, yes.
Oh.
Okay, so that answers the question, who is the most biggest source of conflict? Curly's wife is the underlying source of conflict in the novella. But then I've got my 2 stems and they're here. The first one is because of her unresolved insecurity issues. So that becomes claim 1. And the second claim is going to have to do with a loveless marriage. Again, pretty tough stuff.
So depressing.
Yeah. Okay, so the first claim, this is where that waterfall comes in. Claim 1 and claim 2 are parent claims, so body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2. Our first claim would become something like this. I'd like you to copy this one down as well. Curly's wife insecurity issues lead her to seek attention which causes conflict. Which causes conflict for who?
Lenny.
Lenny, Curly. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Okay, and then anyone want to take a stab at the second one? Go for it.
It may be kind of like foreshadowing to when she goes and tries to seek comfort with Lenny at the end of the book, ends up getting him in trouble, but how she vents to him about how she could have been a huge star and that she could never talk to Curly about it because he wouldn't understand, and that he kind of thinks that she should be a housewife.
Awesome. So to get that second one in there, I like how you traced it back to the second idea because that's what claim 2 is going to be about. So the second one becomes Curly's wife's loveless marriage leads her to become lonely and seek out Lenny's company, which is an idea you mentioned. Okay, and then we could add a little caveat that says leading to conflict on the ridge to connect it back. Okay, so I've got my grandparent, I've got my parents, another parent 2, and I need my baby claims. Remember, it doesn't just go, 2-4 isn't just claim, evidence, analysis, evidence, analysis. It's claim, evidence, analysis, claim, evidence, analysis. So you need that middle claim in there. You're going to get even further into this. We're going to call this claim 1.2 and claim 2.2, and all of you should be checking your 2-4 paragraphs right now and making sure you have 2 claims and not just jumping into another sentence of evidence. And this is where you take the tag of your claim and argue that. So Curly's wife's insecurity issues lead her to seek attention, which causes conflict. I'm just going to delete that. There we go. Or edit that. There we go. Claim 1.2 becomes about this second idea right here. So it becomes her seeking attention leads to conflict. Okay, just the second half of that claim. And the second one would become something like, so your full one is Curly's wife's loveless marriage leads her to become lonely and seek out Lenny's company. Your second one here could be something like Curly's wife's loneliness leads her to Lenny, which leads to her death. So, yeah. Do you guys see the trickle down effect?
Uh-huh.
Okay, good. Does this kind of look familiar? No?
By familiar, what do you mean? Like, have we done it before?
Yeah, like a thesis statement having kind of like the smaller chunks to it. Dallas?
I've never been in that advanced of like a language arts class.
Okay.
And it's
Well-
always been language arts. It's never been English.
It's never
Yeah,
been
me
English.
too.
Yeah.
We didn't used to do like vocab.
Yeah.
It was like boring.
It would be
I
like
know
the
the word.
standard middle
Yeah.
school curriculum.
Spelling list.
Yes, spelling list.
Yes.
Oh,
Spelling
those are,
bees.
but they're so comforting and easy because you just memorize the words.
I
and then you
prefer
get-
this. It makes me feel smarter.
You gotta think. You gotta do a lot of thinking for this. Yeah, Reese.
We used to, 1 second.
Are you still
What we
video?
used to do is we would do the vocab list. We never did anything like this, and we would do this thing called IXL. We would do that a lot, which everybody hated. One of my friends, she said she wanted to find the person who created it and kill him.
Ouch.
And she also had to walk out of the classroom and take a break so she wouldn't get so mad at the IXL.
Aww.
And my teacher even said she didn't like it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That's rough to hear. Man, I better not ever assign anything you guys hate. This is a little scary. Is she here? Man. Okay. So that's the principle one. Again, you should be looking at your own essay and seeing, do I have a trickle-down effect? Do I have 2 claims in each body paragraph? Do I have a thesis statement that shows the roadmap here? So this premise, claims are waterfalls. They have that trickle-down effect. Second premise today is really exciting. This is like this is where it gets fun. Not yet. Here we go. Select. Okay, to give you a really good visual, I'm gonna need everybody to stand up, please. Yes, we're standing up. Humor me, please. Claims are waterfalls.
Do you want us to
Claims
do
are
that?
waterfalls. Yeah, I mean, you're already a kid, so that works. Claims are waterfalls. Okay, the next one is really fun, and it's a great thing we're distant today. We're already socially distant, because last year that we had some issues. Select punchy evidence. So when you say punchy, I want you to actually give me a good right hook like you're defending yourself. Yes, good one!
My back.
Oh, man! Select, what kind of evidence? Select punchy evidence. Okay, y'all can sit down. Nice, good punches. Very good. I feel confident. Yeah, we're done with that nonsense.
That was okay.
That actually felt really good.
You know, getting some activity going on. So what I mean by punchy is your claim should make that argument that we just talked about. Then your evidence should be the strongest evidence that you have to prove that claim. Not just evidence, not just, oh yeah, this kind of goes with it. Oh, this quote relates to this character, or it's something they did. But that evidence should be so well connected to your claim. It should be the best evidence that when I read it, I should feel like I just got punched in the gut. Okay? That's why it's called punchy evidence.
You're gonna be disappointed.
Well, that's why we're guys. Okay, the next thing, and I'm going to connect back to the evidence thing, is we're going to talk about analysis versus summary. We want to always shoot for analysis, which is, and I'm not going to write this down, but I want you to add it to your notes. Analysis is when you bring more to the text than what's there. You're bringing something new to the text. Versus summary, we all know what summary is. We've been doing since 2nd grade. Summary is just you telling me what's in the book. I know what's in the book. I've read it 5 times. Deacon's read it 2 or 3 times, right? Or twice. Yeah, Deacon's read it twice. He knows what happened in the book. I know what happened in the book. Don't tell me what happens. Tell me why it matters. How do we get here instead of here? We get here by analyzing the effect of the quote on, what were those things again?
Punchy evidence.
Close. We analyze the effect of the quote on the, did we do this in this class?
I don't
No.
think so.
Oh, I didn't do this. Okay, plot. Think of Plot Mountain.
I had a feeling you were gonna say it.
Ah, okay, I like it. Plot on the reader. Okay, on the character. Think of like, I'm a character. Okay, all right, on the character or on the world. And when you get world is fancy and world is big, so you can like add a little jazz hands if you want, if you're feeling feeling it today. Okay, so you get here by analyzing the effect of the quote on the plot, on the reader, on the character, or on the world. Otherwise, you can accidentally end up summarizing the text. The reason you end up summarizing the text often can be traced back to this. This is what I've seen in some of your papers that you've submitted. If you don't have good evidence, you're just going to end up summarizing. Okay, so let's say we're arguing for the thesis statement and the claims that I just gave you, okay? Let's say I'm deciding between two pieces of evidence. The first one is, and then she was still, for Lenny had broken her neck. Okay, that's the first quote that we could choose. Let's say the second one is that scene where all the men are talking behind her back and they're calling her names, things you can't mention in school, that kind of thing. So let's say I'm trying to decide between those two quotes for this essay. This one is quote 1, this one is quote 2, and I'm trying to decide which one fits better. Hold up a 1 if you think you would select 1, hold up a 2 if you would select 2. Interesting. Okay. Deegan, talk to me about why you would select 2.
Also, because I feel like that had, well, I'm honestly not sure, because they both had a big, very large impact on the readers. I think the Broken Neck only had a more, had a larger effect on the world and on the reader, but I feel like the other one probably had a bigger effect on the characters and the plot.
This one has a huge effect on the character. Right when they're all saying stuff about her, it's characterization. Good. Yeah, what do you think, Reese?
Can I change my answer?
Yeah.
I would actually say 2, because I feel like it would be more interesting in like the summary, even if you've already read it, if you start off with like the men talking behind your back, because I feel like I'd be more apt to read that first than a broken neck, because then you would think broken neck, you were going to describe how it all happened, and that just kind of gross, and I wouldn't want to look at that, so if I put that first, because that is interesting, and then like all of a sudden there's like a broken neck, you're like, whoa, how did that happen? Even if you've already read the book, it's I think that would make it more interesting.
Excellent. So Reese, you just said because if you use this quote, you would end up just describing what happens next. There you go. You got it. That's a summary. So if we use this quote, we'd automatically just be, well, Lenny killed Curly. Yeah, no, duh. We all read that, right? That would push you in. Yeah. I need to move on to a new book. Yeah, so you'd automatically end up summarizing, describing what happens next. Excellent. You'd really have to do some work to avoid summary here. But I like what Deegan said about the using this as a character quote, because here is where you can get to the insecurity issues, the loveless marriage. This is where this comes from. I mean, if people are talking about your behind your back, you're going to have some insecurity issues for sure. Yeah.
That's the reason I chose that one, because like this all leads up to when she went to Lenny, because she had such bad insecurity issues that she wanted to be comforted by somebody that doesn't really talk about her, that she probably knows that. So I mean, that just it proves her insecurity issues with the men talking behind her back, and that would be some really good evidence to put.
It would be some great evidence, absolutely. And hey, if you're writing about Curly's wife, there you go.
I should have read about Curly.
She's my favorite character, but also because she's the only woman in the whole plot.
True.
My
I didn't
favorite
even think
character
about
is
that. I mean, they talk about Aunt Clara, but they never like.
Oh,
That's true.
They
she's
never.
not in it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she,
I wonder what happened to
a
her.
little bit in it.
True.
Yeah.
True. Oh, because she shows up in the movie.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite
That doesn't
character?
really count because it was like an illusion.
You should watch the movie.
There's a movie.
No. I don't want to end up crying in class again. Okay. You can watch it on your own. It's just very emotional, really emotional. Especially the newer version with John Malcolm in it, something like that. I don't remember actually. Okay, so we've got those three ideas. Pull up the green sheet that I assigned you, please. It's the peer review. Okay, so we talked about claims, we talked about evidence, we talked about analysis. I want you guys to go in next and look at the peer review. Obviously, you're not on the peer review today if you haven't finished the essay. But you're going to be looking for punchy evidence. You're going to be looking for issues with thesis and claim. You're going to be looking for the smaller errors like MLA and grammar and that kind of thing. So we're going to be revising and editing. Let's do a little quiz. This is going to be helpful for my 6th period folks too. We're going to do a little quiz. I'm going to read you 3 quotes, and I want you to tell me whether you think they're best for the plot, character, reader, or world. But I'm not giving you any world quotes, so it's really plot, reader, or character. Yes.
So just one question. When we're doing the essay on the other person's computer, how do we like? Are they just gonna leave up the peer review thing so then we can look it up at their computer as we're doing it?
When we get to the peer review today, you're just going to share your essay like digitally with student IDs, unless you haven't finished it yet, because I know a couple of us haven't. Okay, so should we review these? Give me a plot. Give me a plot mountain. Plot. Okay. Give me a world. Optional jazz hands. Okay. Character here. There we go. And reader. What's reader again? Ah, nice. Okay. Plot. Reader. Character. World.
This makes me think of like camp, and they're like,
Yeah, they're like,
I did used to teach games. Yes. Okay. Plot. Show me plot.
oh.
Reader. Character. World.
Theme.
Just kidding. Plot. Character. Reader.
going too fast.
Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. You get the idea. I'll give you a little more time when I read the quote. Okay. Here's a quote. Show me with your hands what it's most important to. Here we go. This is all you get. Ready? It was Sunday afternoon.
Oh my god.
Wait, we're supposed to do like plot reader thing.
It was Sunday afternoon. There's no world quotes. It was Sunday afternoon. That's the quote. Is it most important to the plot, reader, character, or world? Oh. Reader. Reader. Why is it reader, Deegan?
Because
reader.
Imagery.
I would say because the character, like even for us right now, doesn't really matter what day it is. We still do it anyway. But for the reader, it matters what day it is, so then they can kind of know the timeline.
Gives us a setting. Excellent. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bounce. Okay. Gives us the setting. Yes. Good. Yep. Most important to the reader. That's never a quote you would need in an essay, right? It's just a reader quote. It's helpful for you. Here we go. Next one. George gonna say I done a bad thing. He ain't gonna let me tend no rabbits. George gonna say I done a bad thing. He ain't gonna let me tend no rabbits. Character. Excellent. Last one. This one's tricky. There might be more than one answer. Oh, sad. Okay. Come on, boy. Picture a dog right here. Come on, boy, he said gently, and he said apologetically to Candy. He won't even feel it. Candy did not move nor answer him. Come on, boy. The old dog got slowly and stiffly to his feet and followed the gently pulling leash. Plot, reader, or character? Plot, reader, or character? Okay. I want to hear from you. What do you think? Yeah.
I feel like it's either reader or character.
Why?
Just because.
Well, I mean, to the reader, it kind of like tells you like what they were like feeling, I guess you could say. And then to the character, I guess you could also say what they were feeling. Like Candy was probably feeling like sorrow and stuff.
Okay.
That's what I feel like.
Excellent. Who wants to add to that?
Reader, because that was one of the big instances of foreshadowing in this story.
Excellent. So reader, because it's foreshadowing. Anything else?
I would say plot because, like, I feel like Candy kind of because he doesn't really. I think this is it. If not, no wait. But I think like Candy, like, is trying to do like the farm with them. Is that it, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Because he probably is like he's like lonely and he doesn't really have much to do.
Okay.
But like if his dog was still alive, he probably wouldn't have been so eager to do it with him because he wouldn't have his dog to spend time with.
Okay, so it's kind of driving his character
Yeah.
motivations. That's excellent, and plot too. I think this one could work for any of those, and I like your guys' descriptions here. Because foreshadowing is really for the reader to let us know what's coming ahead. It's also for the plot, right? It gives us a huge clue as to what's coming in the climax of the book or in the falling action with Lenny. But it's also character because it reveals this huge clue that we have to Candy's character as well. Okay, everybody say bye to 6th period B group. Little shout out to them. Bye, guys. We can't wait to be together again. Okay. And there we go.